and welcome to the video. Today I'm here with Monali from Monali Heart and Soul Reader. I will link below her channel so you guys can check her out. But today we asked Instagram and Facebook to ask us questions. Well, not the sites themselves, people on the sites. To ask if they have any questions that we can help guide. We have been studying / tapping into this for quite some time, and we thought we would do that.
Share from our perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a couple questions. If you have any questions, please comment them down below and we will do them in our next Q&A video. If you like this video, please give it a like and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Also, if you want to check out our social media, Monali's social media will be in the down bar, along with my Instagram and Facebook, along with my Etsy page, which has clothing, jewelry, and tarot readings, and my GoFundMe if you want to help support my projects and putting out my content. That being said, let's get on to the questions. Is there anything you'd like to say about yourself before we get into this?
I'm a psychic medium. I'm a channeler. I can talk to people who are past, present, and future. I am a medical intuitive, and I'm also an emotional intuitive. So that's like me, summed up in a very short sentence.
Exactly.
That was helpful.
And if you want to know more about her, you can go over to her channel and hit subscribe, because her videos, we're doing channeling videos with planetary messages and different kinds of things like that. So if you want to check that out, please go over to her channel. It's fabulous. Alright, so we have 3 questions today. First comes from Alice, how would you pronounce that? Allison, oh, it's Allison 2.0. She says, my stomach always acts up and I don't know what to do because it hurts a lot. Do you know any practices for bellies?
So the first one is pay attention to what you're not necessarily digesting, and I don't mean food-wise, I mean within your life, what you are not necessarily able to process. I can do a scan on you as well, so that's also, you're kind of in your head a lot, and so you're like over-analyzing and thinking things, and so for you to breathe down into your belly area and understand what it is that you are super tense about, that will help with your belly. Also, pay attention to what you're eating, because food is also often a void filler, and so the more we eat, the more we fill our voids, and so you may have more stomach problems the more you eat. And I would just go with a cleaner diet. We can literally have a conversation if you would like about more specifics about that, but overall, just breathe down into your belly and just really be aware in the next few days what you are digesting in your life.
Would that also be about like what she needs to release as well?
Yeah, so also about emotional releasing. So like your solar plexus, a lot of people say it's belly, but often it's solar plexus area, where when you have a fear or something, you start to like hold your breath and you start to calcify like stories and anxiety, and so you'll eventually get stomach aches. And so my suggestion also would be to gently just put your hand on your solar plexus and gently like kind of like give yourself a gentle massage, and you'll actually start to feel like calcified breath releasing, whether that's like burping or you have like indigestion, or you can literally feel like bubbles of air coming up for you. That would be also helpful. I've done this personally for myself for lots of different things, and it's really, really helpful for me, and that was what my guidance system showed me on how to help like release stomach issue, I guess.
And my thing would be, because she was asking about, let's see, practices, my suggestion would be to, we often, when we have pain in our body, we tend to shy away from it or have a negative emotion around it, you know, like it's almost like attacking us. So I find when I have pain in my body, what I try to do is kind of like do the reverse, and I try to sit with that feeling and breathe into it, like Monali was saying. But also
breath is very important. So what she's saying, yeah, our whole body gets tense, and so you literally will make it worse. So breathe.
But also emotionally bringing love to that space, being like, I'm honoring that this is, you know, something in my body, this is my body speaking to me, this is how you know, this is how your body communicates to you. So
think of it as like a little kid that wants to talk to you.
Exactly. So like if a little kid's in pain, you wouldn't like you know, throw it away. You'd say, yo, come here, let me hug you, let me take care of you, what do you need? And so it's important that, and this goes for any type of pain, sit with it, you know, don't shy away from it, be present with it, and that a lot of times will alleviate a lot of whatever you're holding as well.
Also, if you want like a practice, I would I use that word very loosely, so I don't want you to get into like you have to do it to make yourself better. But also, if you want to visualize either golden light streaming down through you or literally just in your belly area where it hurts, that also might be helpful because it gives your mind something to focus on, so you won't be overthinking it, which I think might be helpful as well.
Totally. Yep. And then of course there's other things you can do, you know, just in general for helping releasing. Meditation, crystal work is really good. That can help.
Lots of water.
Crystals are really good for raising your frequency. So if you bring some crystals in that are for solar plexus or your stomach, sometimes that will really help release, because disease and pain always has to be on the frequency which you're holding, and crystals help raise your frequency, especially if you have one in alignment with whatever chakra you're going with. So if you bring that crystal into your space, it'll help raise that frequency and align that chakra so that that disease and discomfort will then no longer be able to match your reality. So that's also really helpful too. If you want something a little more physical that you feel, or like even just sleeping with that crystal under your bed, that can be really helpful when you're not specifically paying attention to it. It can really help you keep that higher frequency and help release some stuff as well. So yeah, but I think a combination of all the things would be a really good
and then most
first
importantly,
step.
yeah, we just like gave you a whole bunch of things, but what feels good to you for how you feel. Your own, if you start to listen to your body more, it'll guide you. Like it'll actually have conversations with you and will absolutely guide you and show you what you need.
Yeah, if you're having an intuition like, oh, I probably should be eating this or that, like that's probably
and it doesn't mean you have to like, you know, cut it out for. There's like a cool little thing that's floating next to me. It doesn't have to mean, you know, you cut it out for like the rest of your life. It just means try for 3 days. Try not eating bread for 3 days, or not eating something that's sugary or alcohol or, you know, smoking. Whatever the things are, it doesn't matter.
And you might even have an intuition that seems random, but sometimes things that seem random are very directly
or you might get a
correlated.
craving for, you know, like some kind of fruit that you may not even normally like, but just go with it.
And also, like, it sounds weird at first, but honestly, just sit for a minute and ask. Like, actually ask out loud, like, what are you trying to tell me? Like, sit with it and be like, what messages? And, like, just notice your intuition, what comes to you. You'll be surprised at, like, how clear the messages come through when you actually decide to be open to it and actually listen. Mm-hmm. It will tell you, and you'll have an intuition, you're like, where the heck did that come from? And like it will be exactly what you need to do. So be aware of like where your intuitive hits are, because that's really helpful, because your body will literally speak to you. Your whole system's in constant communication, so it's really important to consciously tap into that communication and have that conversation with yourself.
And another thing that you might want, if you're gonna go down and what would be helpful for me to eat, literally breathe down into your heart, and ask like yes and no questions. Like, let's say, is kiwi something that would be helpful for my system? Either your heart will constrict, so it'll actually feel like it gets closed, or it'll open up. And so for me, obviously, the opening,
you'll feel like the breathing. It's like
your
chest will kind of like expand.
Yeah. So that's like a yes. That's for me is a yes, and then when it's closed, it's no. Same. And so that might be helpful to ask them just very simple yes or no questions. If you want something else, that would be maybe easier to practice.
And it's really about trusting those intuitions. Yeah. And intuition is and this is intuition across the board, intuition is a muscle that when you first start, you may not feel things, but you'll start noticing like, oh, this is what that feels like. And you know, it's a muscle that becomes stronger as you use it. So when you start trusting those feelings, you will start getting more intense feelings, and you'll notice that you are much more sensitive. So, you know, start with these things in your body that you can physically feel, but then like tap into your intuition as well. That's really good. And then you'll notice you're intuitive about a lot of other things as well as you open that up. So that's also really good.
Absolutely.
Next question. All right, so this is actually from a friend of mine, Allie, and her Instagram is
Allison. Wow.
Oh yeah, it's weird.
It's fun.
This is from Adventures in Wonderlust. She's got a great YouTube channel. Check her out. I will link her down below as well. She's great. She travels all over the world. Met her in theater. Anyway, she said, can you give some advice about learning to love yourself through positive manifesting while coping with negative / self-destructive intrusive thoughts?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Well, my first thing that always helps me, and of course I've been practicing this for a little while, so sometimes it takes a little while to get there, but my biggest thing is oftentimes those destructive thoughts and those negative thoughts come from a lack of awareness of the bigger picture of who we are. If you're very much like, I'm just this human being who has flaws, it's really easy to focus on those things, but I find taking a step back and really tapping into this idea of a part of a whole. I am part of one consciousness. I am a piece of a puzzle that's necessary for the experience on this planet. I'm a piece of the universe perceiving itself. I'm a light being. Oftentimes just stepping back a few spaces, even though it might not be like, I'm in love with myself, it sometimes helps at least remove some of the story to help yourself be at least neutral about where you are. And then you'll find as you start stepping into that space more often and being in more of a neutral, accepting space because you understand how you're a part of the bigger whole, you'll notice that you find that you actually become much more fond of yourself, and that and even then stepping into, once you start getting into that space and being more comfortable in that space, because a lot of us have been trained not to be in that space, and we actually have a lot of guilt around feeling good about ourselves. And so, but once you start stepping into a more neutral space, you can then start doing, practices of being like, well, what do I like about myself? Oh, this is a really cool thing. I'm talented at this. And you'll start noticing that you start appreciating yourself more. But it is a practice because we all of us, 99.999%, if not everyone, has been conditioned to focus on what they think is bad about them. I don't know where we got that from originally. But I'm sure it was some people trying to control other people. But we've been conditioned and brainwashed into believing that we are less than. And it's really important to start stepping back and understanding that we are whole and complete. And so sometimes just having that change of perspective can be really, really helpful in starting that self-love process.
So some ways to do that, which she was explaining a little bit. The first ones I would do would be, first of all, just identify. Can you read the question again? Like the last part about...
I'll just read the whole thing. Can you give some advice about learning to love yourself through positive manifesting while coping with negative self-destructive...
Okay, so the coping part of that, part of the question. So first of all, don't overanalyze what I'm going to say, but just pay attention to why you have a feeling like they're bad for you or they're self-destructive. Like, just pay attention to what that is. So be in the moment and just...
don't judge the judging.
Don't judge the judging. And so...
Because that's a form of self-hate as well. That's layering on, like, multiple
so
layers.
Literally be in the moment of, like, okay, like, maybe, you're making a decision and you think it's a self-destructive behavior. Yeah, that's still probably very valid, but just take a moment and just say, you know what, I am right here. Or we also have this thing that we need to be somewhere else, like, time-wise. So often, like, oh, I wish, or I can't wait.
Or, like, where we are on our journey isn't as perfect as where we're going.
So the fact that you're even aware of what you... Even the fact that you're putting the intention of you want to help yourself change, that's all that you need to be doing.
That's self-loving already.
Yeah. So, like, you're good. So just pay attention to when you have a thought about it. Just kind of take a minute, like I said, but don't overanalyze. And just kind of be in the moment of, okay, why is this not necessarily feeling good for me?
Right. Like, instead of judging, oh, I'm not thinking well about myself, ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Like, really come at it as a observer. That can be a very neutral space for yourself. So if you're just observing, be like, I wonder if that thought's helpful for me.
Something that she does with me often, which sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, don't say it, but often she will. She's like, what would someone who loves themselves do? And it's not even about loving yourself in the sense of, like,
being in love with your... It's more just, like, taking care of yourself and doing what's best for you.
Or imagine, like we were talking about a little kid before. Like, imagine, like, you're a toddler or a 5-year-old who's, full of life, open and curious, and is so excited to be here, but you also have a care. Obviously, when you see a toddler walking around, you're always paying attention, even if it's not even your child. Maybe that's a mom built into us, but anyway, but you're always paying attention, so pay attention to yourself as if you're like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, and something I heard from one of my spiritual teachers was this idea of, when you're a little kid, or you look at a little kid, you say, oh, they deserve the world. Oh, they deserve to be loved. And then you hit adulthood and you're like, I'm a terrible person, blah, blah, blah. It's like, at what age did you stop mattering? Like, at what age were you no longer allowed to be loved? And you'll notice, you'll be like, when you were 6, when you were 8, when you were 10. Like, at what point is it? And you'll realize there is never a time when you switch into being less than worthy of love. And even that realization can be extremely helpful. And yeah, it's like the inner child work of being like, seeing yourself, you know, because like your soul is eternal and ageless. It's just the body that's aging as well. So that soul is always that innocent, pure, beautiful spirit. And if you understand that's your true essence, you'll understand why you're deserving of love.
But for some reason, we tend to be more patient with a 5-year-old than we are with ourselves. She just turned 25, I'm 24. And so for some reason, we're more patient with a 5-year-old who's upset about something than with ourselves when we're upset about something. So,
even though it's the same spirit.
So that's why I was saying, you know, imagine yourself as a little one. You'll have a different patience and a different appreciation and a little bit more of a regard.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it is just about a change of perspective and removing yourself from this story so much of
lose identifications.
Yeah. So, and it's a process. Like, God, it like years of work. And I don't mean that to mean like in a oh God, it's gonna take forever. I mean like be patient with yourself. That's also a form of self-love, appreciating where you're at and understanding that it's a growing process, and that every time you decide to honor yourself, or even like Monali was saying, like just recognize it and like, does this serve me? Or, oh, I would like to treat myself better. That alone is working that self-love muscle.
That's pretty much what you need to be doing.
And that's what everyone does. I mean, like,
there's not like you have to do this, follow through every single day. Like, it's just the intent.
And it does get easier. It actually does become a habit, but even in that, we have our days.
I still struggle with this every day though,
much.
so just like it does get easier, but it's a thing that you still work at.
What I find is exciting is because I have been working on it for so long, I have like noticing also that it's easier is really exciting.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, whoa, I'm actually doing this naturally.
Yeah.
Same thing with Marielle. Her sister was like, Marielle, you may not notice it, but you are a very self-loving person. You've been made it a habit. You do it without thinking about it a lot of times. So it is very possible to do that, but also then when you fall off the wagon, like, that is also okay. You know, like, yeah, if like someone like fell off a wagon, you'd be like, oh my God, and you know, you wouldn't like be like, you're an idiot.
Just walk away.
I mean, something, you know, if they're like being an idiot, like, fine, no, I'm kidding. But like,
exactly.
Like, you definitely fell off that on purpose. Like, that is not, but you know what I mean? Like, if someone...
And sometimes you may have to learn
judge them.
a lesson a few times, and that's okay.
And that's, it's all good. You know, that's why I talk about, you know, it's all about the soul journey. You know, a lot of people focus on, like, the ultimate, like, enlightenment, I'm going here, and it's like, it's about, like, our experience as humans is about the journey. It's about our soul growth. It's about our soul journey. And so that's why I really like saying that, because it's not about like I'm becoming enlightened or enlightened. It's about the journey in which my soul has decided to take on this experience and do that. And that's actually much more important.
It should really be out lighting, because you are of light, so it's not like you're gonna go in to find light. Light should be out. Like, you know what I'm saying? It should like go like that, not like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but if there's no time and space or anything like that, it's just like is.
So you are just light. Yeah.
Light.
Anyway,
we are light.
Sorry, that was like a tangent in my mind.
There is no out. There is no in. There just is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I hope that's helpful. Again, comment down below if that helped you. And if you have any more follow-up questions, we will follow up with you in our next video. Or Allie, you could just message me. You could do that too, because we're friends. And our last question is from Allison 2.0 again. I'm assuming this is a girl. Yeah, that I feel like that's whatever you identify as. Beautiful. Her second question was also, do you think aliens really exist? Yes.
Short and sweet and simple.
I have a lot of reasons for that. I mean, there's like the basic ones of like, I can't imagine there isn't life somewhere else out of the universe. But me and Monali personally have experienced, not specifically like, there's an alien landing in my yard. Not quite like that. But on the energetic level and communication level.
Not quite accurate, but yeah.
What do you mean? Wait, have you?
Not exactly the way that you're saying.
You know what I mean.
Anyway,
but pretty close. Pretty close.
Keep going.
At least that's not my experience personally. But yes, we have had interactions with extraterrestrial beings and higher dimensional beings very intimately, and I've alluded to it on some level, and I feel like, I actually identify as being from an extraterrestrial planet as well, so very intimately I believe in aliens, and it's pretty amazing. I've had a lot of visions and things like that, and I'll have intuitions and realizations, and then I'll go and study up on the race of beings I actually believe I'm connected to, and I'll find that they're completely in alignment with the visions and intuitions and things like that I've had. So for me, I feel 100% like, yes, definitely. And Monali's had like 1.5 million experiences with them as well. I haven't specifically talked to you about where you think you stem from specifically, but I'm sure you're not exactly from this planet either, so. And
also I was going to say a side note, so it's not necessarily about, extraterrestrial beings. I think we all are ourselves, it's just our higher selves. Mm-hmm. And so it's not like necessarily an aspect, it's not like a whole new foreign race, it's an aspect of ourselves in a different reality, in a different realm. And so
a different expression.
Yeah, a different expression. So that kind of goes back to like past lives or many lives all happening all at the same time. Mm-hmm. But so for me, it's not necessarily like there's like a race of beings up somewhere else. It's
that are completely disconnected from us.
Yeah, it's an aspect of ourselves that are in a different realm and a different reality, and that's what I feel.
Because like the thing is, anything to do with something identifying outside of ourselves is still a part of the experience of Source experiencing itself, because ultimately we're all one. So it's not even like, it's like the farther out you go back, it's like, we're connected more, we're one being, we're all one consciousness. So it's kind of an interesting thing when you talk about like aliens or anything else. But I can also identify that this is a bush. I'm not currently experiencing being a bush.
Right, but you have a connection with it.
I have a connection, and ultimately we're all energy, and this is a part of Source, I'm part of Source. So like,
so it
depends on what you want to look, how you want to look at it. But in other like higher dimensional planes and things like that, yes, there are beings that are expressing as extraterrestrials.
They haven't lost. I don't know, that's not the right word I'd use, but they've actually I guess lost some of their identity, so they are going to be able to not be so solidified here.
They're not so focused on
a 3D planet realm here. So that's what I truly feel and think, but it's up to you to decide what you feel and think and believe or whatever.
And as to them coming to the planet, like when people actually see them and have those experiences, it's my feeling on it that, because any energy can shift its frequency, and the only reason we experience this versus other things is because we don't have receptors to experience those frequencies. Like you
like a dog in hearing.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like a dog whistle, like it still happens, but like we don't hear it. So if you think of like extraterrestrials as being like that, like they can, because they are aware of how their energy works, they can shift into frequency low enough for us to be able to perceive them. But it often comes off as very weird or something, because that frequency, I would say, is not their natural state. So
it's not our natural state.
Yeah, so
but we're
it can
slowly
be very
combining
weird.
them more and more together.
Which is why we're having more interactions.
Right, all of that.
Yeah, so we're kind of starting to meet each other.
Yeah, which is super exciting.
It is.
But I also think, which is all super exciting and interesting, but also just by you doing your own work and just being kind every single day, that's going to get everybody on the planet closer to self-love, like the other question was about, and also just in general, like it's not like you have to necessarily sit here and think about it all day long and freak yourselves out, because I've done that, for sure, but also it's just about finding it within yourself to see what feels good within you about what this topic is for you.
And I think this idea of like extraterrestrials and aliens is that they're a foreign thing, and I wanted to add into that, like they are here, we don't perceive, just kind of like higher dimension, like spirits or anything else. They're here and they're interacting, but also right now the Earth would have a really hard time having an alien walk up and be like, here's the things to help the planet, blah blah blah. We'd be like, wah! So right now a lot of extraterrestrial consciousness and beings are actually being birthed onto the planet as human beings with extra awareness, so that they can teach the planet without freaking it out. And so which is actually very much what I identify as. So even though I say yes, I feel like I'm an extraterrestrial being, my higher dimensional self is an extraterrestrial, which I do connect with. I'm also a human. I was born here. It's not like I rocked up, like an adult, like I was born, I didn't remember who I was, and I've remembered who I was, but I've noticed that, when someone will ask me a question, I won't even have the answer, but all of a sudden it'll start streaming through me, and I'll be like, oh, blah, 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 and I'm like, wait, how did I come to that realization?
So you're going to find people who channel more, and you're going to find people, like she was saying, like the younger ones on the planets, they're going to have sensing abilities that are going to be...
bigger awareness.
Just different.
Yeah, so like for instance, Monali channels specifically, like she doesn't even really remember most of what she says.
Depends on if it's,
Whereas me, I feel like I just have like my intuition is just broader, so I can make sense of things, but I'm not specifically like I mean, you could say I'm channeling if you believe I'm a high dimensional being. Like, it's a form of channeling, but it's not.
I think
it's
just a different form of channeling.
Totally, yeah. So we just go about it differently, and we have different kind of information come through. So it's actually really great that we all have our different avenues.
Yeah.
So,
because there are going to be people who connect with her way more than they're going to connect with me, and vice versa.
Right, and that's why we both come down. Like, that's the point. We are here for different aspects. But essentially, when you say, do you believe in aliens, we're already here. We're not separate from you. We're a part of you. We are higher dimensional beings. But even higher is like such a convoluted concept, because we think of higher aspects. Yeah, different pieces of the puzzle, but we're different expression. I think that would be the best way to put it. It's the same. I like to express, like, when I think of like consciousness, if you think of a fiber optic light, those lights that go like whoosh, and they're really cool. If you think of the light as source consciousness, and each of the tips is a different aspect, or a different human or alien or whatever.
Like trees, like a tree with branches, with leaves.
But think about all of those lights are the same light.
Yeah.
They're still that from that light bulb. It's just expressing out in all different angles, and it has a different perspective. If you think at the end of each fiber optic, if it also had a receiver to experience as much as express, it's the same thing. So if you think it's all the same light, but we're all out here experiencing things. So we're not separate. We're just a different expression.
I hope that helps.
Yes. So, that was our last question. If you guys have any other questions, please comment down below. This is really fun. I really enjoyed this. Again, go over and check out Monali's channel. We're super excited. We're actually just going to do another video for her really soon here, so that'll be up soon. Please like the video and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And check out our social media down below. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Many blessings. Namaste. And don't forget, it's all about the soul journey.